Before we dive into today's case, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our new uploads. If you're fascinated by mysterious deaths and unexplained circumstances, this channel is exactly where you need to be. What you're about to hear may sound at first like a tragic accident, the story of an elderly couple who passed away quietly in their home. But I promise you, this isn't what you think. The deaths of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa are surrounded by too many unanswered questions and inconsistencies to be dismissed as a simple accident. The stakes couldn't be higher. Uncovering the true cause behind their deaths could reveal deeper issues lurking beneath the surface, and perhaps prevent similar tragedies from happening to others. On February 26, 2025, the bodies of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa were discovered at their secluded home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Hackman, revered for his iconic performances in films like The French Connection, Unforgiven, and The Conversation, had stepped away from Hollywood nearly 2 decades. Earlier, seeking peace and quiet, he had embraced a life of relative anonymity alongside his wife Betsy, a talented classical pianist and businesswoman. She was 65 years old, significantly younger than the 95-year-old Hackman, but they shared a bond that had endured for more than 40 years. That day, a maintenance worker performing a routine check noticed something strange. The front door to the Hackman residence was standing wide open. After repeated knocks and calls received no answer, he entered the home and made a horrifying discovery. Hackman's body lay in the foyer, lifeless and showing signs of significant decomposition. Further inside, in the bathroom, he found Betsy Arakawa, also deceased. Shockingly, one of their beloved dogs was found dead inside a nearby closet, while their other 2 dogs, though dehydrated and weak, were found alive in other parts of the house. Initial observations raised eyebrows. There were no signs of forced entry. No broken windows, no smashed locks, no evidence of a struggle. There were no visible injuries on either body, and nothing in the house appeared to have been stolen. To an outsider, it seemed like a tragic case of 2 elderly individuals succumbing naturally to the ravages of age or illness. But the deeper investigators dug, the more strange details they unearthed. Near Betsy's body, scattered across the bathroom floor, lay a mess of prescription medications. Pills for blood pressure, thyroid issues, and heart health littered the tiles, suggesting that a frantic search or emergency had occurred. The possibility of an accidental overdose or a sudden medical crisis immediately came to mind. Investigators quickly ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning as a cause. Tests revealed no gas leaks or elevated carbon monoxide levels in the home. A major breakthrough came when authorities obtained data from Hackman's pacemaker. It revealed that his heart had stopped beating on February 17, 2025, approximately 9 days before the couple's bodies were found. This crucial detail narrowed the window of their deaths, but also raised a haunting question. If Gene Hackman died on February 17th, when exactly did Betsy Arakawa die? Was she alive for days afterward, isolated and grieving, trying to save herself and her beloved husband? The maintenance worker's 911 call only added to the unease surrounding the case. Initially, he reported finding just 1 deceased person. Later in the same call, he corrected himself and stated that he had found 2. Was this simple confusion in a moment of overwhelming shock, or did it hint at something more troubling? Investigators carefully scrutinized the call and the worker's background, but no immediate red flags were found. He had worked at the Hackman property for years without incident and had no known criminal history. As news of the deaths spread, neighbors and family members offered their own unsettling observations. No one had spoken to Gene or Betsy for nearly 2 weeks before their discovery. While the couple valued their privacy and often kept to themselves, this extended period of complete silence was unusual even for them. Friends described how the pair would normally maintain some level of contact with a trusted few. Why had no one checked in sooner? Was it just unfortunate timing or another clue pointing towards something more complex? The positioning of their bodies told a story, though one with missing pieces. Hackman was found in the foyer, suggesting he collapsed suddenly, perhaps while trying to leave or call for help. Arakawa, meanwhile, was discovered in the bathroom, surrounded by scattered medications. It seemed plausible she had been searching for help, either for Gene or for herself. But there was something tragic in the image. A woman, alone, possibly frantic in her final moments. The fate of their dogs deepened the mystery. Why did one dog perish while the others clung to life? The dead dog, found in a closet near Betsy, appeared to have sought a quiet, enclosed space. Autopsy results later showed that the dog had died of dehydration. This suggested it had been trapped without access to water for days, a chilling indication of just how long help failed to arrive. Medical experts brought in to consult with the investigation offered a somber theory. Gene Hackman, already advanced, in age and suffering from heart conditions, likely experienced a fatal cardiac event on February 17th. Betsy Arakawa, rushing to his aid, may have been overwhelmed by stress, grief, and perhaps her own health problems. She could have suffered a heart attack or a similar medical emergency while desperately trying to help him. The scattered medications seemed to support this idea, an act of desperation in a moment of helplessness. Yet this explanation, while tragic, didn't satisfy everyone. It didn't account for every oddity. Why hadn't Betsy called 911? The home's landline was working, and both she and Hackman had functioning cell phones. The investigation confirmed there were no service outages or major technical problems in the area. So why the silence? Why had no call for help been made? Some proposed that Betsy might have been disoriented, confused by stress, or physically incapacitated before she could reach a phone. Others with darker imaginations speculated about outside interference. Could an intruder have entered the home, somehow leaving no trace? Investigators found no evidence to support this theory. There were no signs of forced entry, struggle, or robbery. Nevertheless, authorities were careful to leave no stone unturned. Another chilling theory emerged. Perhaps Hackman didn't die instantly after collapsing. Maybe he lay incapacitated, and Betsy, unable to move him or get help, struggled to care for him for days. It's a heartbreaking idea. A woman trying to save her husband, trapped by love, loyalty, and circumstance, ultimately succumbing to exhaustion, dehydration, or a medical event herself. This would explain the time gap indicated by forensic findings and the advanced decomposition noted on both bodies. Still, unsettling details remained. The maintenance worker's 911 call continued to raise eyebrows among amateur sleuths and seasoned investigators alike. Was it merely an error made under emotional distress, or had he truly noticed only one body at first glance? If so, why? The lack of clear answers only fueled the sense that something about the scene wasn't adding up. Meanwhile, autopsy results shed only partial light. Gene Hackman's death was attributed to cardiac arrest, unsurprising given his age and medical history. Betsy's cause of death, however, remained ambiguous. While signs of heart disease were noted, the medical examiner could not conclusively state whether her death was entirely natural or triggered by stress, injury, or some unknown factor. Subtle signs of trauma were present, small bruises that could have resulted from a fall, but none pointed definitively to foul play. In the end, the tragedy of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's deaths lies not just in their passing, but in the unanswered questions they left behind. Despite their best efforts, investigators were unable to fully explain every aspect of the case. Officially, their deaths remain classified as undetermined, neither purely accidental nor ruled suspicious enough to be labeled as homicide. Gene Hackman's death shook Hollywood and his legions of fans. Though he had retired from acting, in 2004, his legacy loomed large. His 2 Academy Awards, his unforgettable performances, and his contributions to cinema made him a titan of the industry. Betsy Arakawa, though less known to the public, left behind a legacy of her own. As a musician, a partner, and a woman whose quiet strength helped sustain Hackman through decades of fame and reinvention. The couple's love story was extraordinary. Despite the challenges of a significant age gap and the scrutiny that comes with fame, they remained steadfast companions. Friends described them as private but deeply devoted, a bond that seems heartbreakingly evident even in their final days. The tragic discovery in their Santa Fe home has left a lingering sense of unease. What really happened in those final hours or days remains a haunting mystery. Were they victims of cruel fate, undone by a series of unfortunate medical events? Or is there still a piece of the puzzle missing, something no one has yet uncovered? If you've made it this far, it's clear you share our fascination with mysteries like this one. Don't keep this channel a secret. Share this video with someone who appreciates a gripping true story. Join our growing community of truth seekers by subscribing right now and hitting that notification bell so you'll always be first to know when we release new investigations. And if you have theories about what happened to Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa, don't keep them to yourself. Drop them in the comments below. Sometimes the most insightful observations come not from the headlines, but from curious minds like yours. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, the truth is often stranger than fiction.